Have a very, very serious conversation. One that's a little bit different than how it normally is, but it's still the same great show. Welcome to another edition of XFeed. What's up? My name is The Schiller. Throughout the past 2 years, we did it last year, so we went through a year and a bit, but even beyond then, we've been streaming about NFTs and Web3. We have been at several different inflection points, and when you take some sort of broadcasting course in life, if you ever do that, you learn about inflection, when you raise your voice in an inflection to be excited about something when it's finishing, or when it feels kind of somber and you're wanting to end things on not the greatest note, and you have a little bit of inflection in your voice, just like the market. And we are at a point where it is going to inflect in a ridiculous way. If you haven't been following the journey so far, Navi, what's going on? Gary Doge, what's going on? Listen, if you guys are able to share this wherever, whoever, to whatever, we're going to get into so many different things tonight. And this is like your free pass. We're giving you the hall pass to be stupidly bullish about everything. Because I keep having these conversations, and I've used the same verbiage twice now in both the conversations. Yesterday, I talked with Chris Yean from the Plume Network. They're bringing RWAs on-chain. It's a phenomenal episode. Would love for you guys to check that out. And I called him a genius on it. But then today, we did an interview with Mr. Ben Jordan. Now, if you're in the Futureverse community, you might be like, I've heard that name before, but where? For others, you might not have never heard that name, but you might have heard of somebody named Ben, and you might have heard of somebody named Jordan. So there you go. There's your connection to it. And I said that he was a genius as well. And that interview has got to come out maybe later tonight, maybe tomorrow. We'll try to get it to you before the weekend begins. And I called him a genius as well. And I was thinking to myself, man, I feel almost disingenuous saying this to two people sort of in the same context that are both in the same industries. Like, am I being serious with that? Or am I just finding filler words? And I meant it. I meant it for both of them. It's high-level conversations. It's thought-provoking things. I hate the word things. Now that I'm like realizing I say that way too much. Things encompasses too much. It's not exact. But when I can't think of an exact word, I use the term things. That's self-awareness for you. And everybody's got a different kind of impact. And I mean, arguably Gary Vee, with all the animals, self-awareness, sloth, I don't know. There's probably one of the names in there. But I think he's somebody that's maybe very self-aware of things. And what we've seen on the news from covering this entire stretch of time is hype. It's explanations of things that sometimes you'll understand, sometimes you won't. Something you'll get eventually, but maybe not right now. And you're like, holy shit. The way that things are happening within the AI front. Yesterday, I tried to big myself up a little bit. And I was like, listen, we keep saying certain things are going to happen. And it doesn't take a genius to say the takes, right? And to recap, yesterday, we highlighted that we called a stream mergers and acquisitions imminent. And that was just a premonition. And then we had these huge announcements around Coinbase and Kraken, I believe. Unless I'm thinking of somebody else. Kraken was one of them. I think Coinbase was the other that was going out there and hiring exchanges. We're still seeing acquisitions of companies, mergers, all of that. But some of the biggest ones in the space happened right after. And I was like, damn, we nailed it. And then we highlighted the Magic the Gathering cards. And there was like the land cards, and there was different artists and themes. Like, people love certain aspects, but maybe there's other ways that they can love them with having the filters. And then we saw the Ghibli Studio viral ChatGPT image generation. If you've seen those images, realize that it's not a singular thing that ChatGPT can do. It's much more. It's different styles of anything that you want. But there was one studio that stood out. And we're going to explain that story. We're going to play some videos from those individuals, react to takes on the timeline, and so much more. So we'll try to keep this relatively short, but this is going to be a culmination of some of the craziest stuff, some of the geniusness we've seen within the space. So yesterday, I think the day before, a few days ago, we highlighted that the Wayfinder token generating event is coming. Wayfinder is the AI arm of what the Parallel team is doing. They've had the avatars, the successful trading card game. They've done a tournament. It's massive already with a ton of prize funding. And they announced their token generating event, and it's happening like in 5 days, less than 5 days. And people I'm seeing all over the timeline starting to share that. But there's a theme here. There's a theme. And you might not really realize it until it's kind of all put together and you're like, oh, so somebody hit the green light for making things happen next month. I kind of expected going into like March, it was going to be busier, but March seemed to be the announcement month, if you will. So there was a clip that was posted. If it's 4 minutes, and 4 minutes, you don't have the attention span for that. It's okay. So we're going to play 2 minutes of this, but this is from the Think team. And I tweeted earlier, if you follow me, oh, they put out a date. Is this the Think token generating event? And then I was responded to like, no, this is the Souls component of it. The token generating event's going to come a little bit after. I'm like, okay, I need to catch up on it. But here's an example of somebody explaining their upcoming mint for something that also has the token generating event a part of it. Now, this is somebody that is working to create an AI institute where there's like 40 plus businesses and companies that are building on this standard. So you have a lot of AI tools out there, and you have an AI institute now that's working specifically within the blockchain space to try to create a standard that people work on. This is a clip from it.
Definitely considered a blue chip, like unanimously considered a blue chip collections. So we can leave it at that, but they're very well known, and they have assets that are traded, like single assets that are traded in the millions.
Yeah, and you're gonna be able to use them inside of Souls, which is dope. All right, so I know we did this kind of backwards, but let's talk about what's happening on the 22nd of next month. Felix, do you want to kind of lead that, because I want to make sure that I don't talk about stuff I'm not supposed to.
Yeah. We're able to announce now because we've been talking with a major marketplace / platform that is going to partner with us, and in roughly 3.5 weeks or so, you will be able to own your own intelligence. A lot of people assume that that's like an NFT mint or like some standard thing. It's going to be a little different in the way that there's a lot of value adds. So part of the idea of this protocol and Souls in particular is that you will own your own agent as an on-chain entity. You'll be able to have, it'll have a wallet, it'll interact. Think token is the ecosystem token. If you can deduce from there, you need to have an asset on chain, you need Think tokens and a wallet. And in this, on that date, you'll be able to get all of that in one package. So there'll be more details that are going to come out next week.
Okay, so more details, but working with a major exchange, you're going to have different assets that are a part of it. It goes on to say that major collections that are out there, like the time is wow. Mr. Amtali, what's going on, Super Bowl? Hope you're well, both of you, of course, not just one, both. 2 for 1 pizza, true. And if not, then you can use Altered State's 3D generative tool. So if you have a collection, maybe it doesn't exist anymore. There wasn't any availability the team wasn't able to create 3D assets with them, but you want to create this character in a metaverse in this agent protocol. What we're going to see as Think, that's going to be out in 3 weeks' time. And again, the AI Wayfinder AI, whatever you want to phrase it as, they have their token generating event like in the next few days. So this team just announced here because one of the other big AI players announced here. Coincidence? We'll see. Now, we always talk about the RWA Segments podcast, and as I've mentioned, the interview I did yesterday that's coming out on next Tuesday, I called them a genius. And Michael Schramm, who's the owner of Ownership, CEO, had a podcast that we released this week and would love for you guys to check that out. But here's a quick 18-second clip from that.
Fake industry, the fake industry is accountable for about $3 trillion revenue each year.
Hey, it's your host, Steven Schill. All right. Hey, it's your host, Steven True. Would love for you guys to check that out. Again, it's the YouTube description down below or in my bio on X, or if you just type in RWA Segments podcast. But the $3 trillion counterfeit industry. We've seen all this craziness, right, within the ChatGPT with that Ghibli studio and people saying, oh, they're not getting royalties. They're not doing this, that, and the other thing. Well, what about the physical industry and everything that exists in the $3 trillion physical scam industry of people scamming physical items and trades. And we're going to go a full package here. Don't worry. We got some more coming for you. But holy smokes. So the Ghibli style. Again, you had ChatGPT. You prompt them an image. Give them that text. Pudgy Penguins. They were posting about it. And it's not just that specific studio. The image upgrading generation as a whole got a huge update. Type in, I want my ape as a Simpson character. Boom. There you go. Picture perfect. Since Studio Ghibli is trending, worth noting the mind-boggling effort Miyazaki and his team put into film. Each has 60 to 70,000 frames, all hand-drawn and painted with watercolor. So here's a video. We just looked at some of the art pieces. You've seen it all on timeline, but here's the studio that actually created it.
Drawing a crowd takes time and effort, so animators generally avoid it, but not Miyazaki. Everyone gathers once a week to view the rushes. This allows Miyazaki to check the completed shots with his own eyes. This shot is only 4 seconds long. It took the team a year and 3 months to complete.
So guys, super happy. And I hope you're happy that now you got the full story. But 4 seconds they made this scene out of took them a year and 3 months. And we saw enough for a movie, a novel, an entire generation in a couple of hours yesterday. Now, this artist, animator, studio, all of it, imagine the Google searches are just off the friggin', like off the rails crazy. But it's caused some insane backlash. But people are noting you can do some crazy things.
The world is changed, and some things that should not have been forgotten were lost. But the Ring of Power has a will of its own.
Evil is stirring in Mordor. The ring has awoken. Sauron needs only this ring to cover all the...
So before we continue playing this, just a reminder, this is done with ChatGPT with that the G filter. And it costs them $250. So this is going omega viral. Where that took them, the studio, Ghibli Studio, 1 year, 3 months. I'm mixing stuff up to create it.
The lands of darkness.
What must I do?
The ring must be destroyed.
Cast back into the fires of Mount Doom.
I know what hunts you. They're coming.
They will find the ring and kill the one who carries it.
You have my sword.
My bow.
And my axe.
You carry the fate of us all, little one.
This task was appointed to you, and if you do not find a way, no one will.
Let us hope that our presence may go unnoticed. They are coming.
We must turn back!
Shall not pass!
You will face evil, and you will defeat it. Even the smallest person can change the course of the future.
I'm glad you're with me.
So let me ask you, would you enjoy rewatching your favorite movie the exact same as it was, just with a different filter? I don't know. Watching that, I think, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Crazy. Jamie Burke also thinks it's crazy how literally no one is remotely discussing the fact that Studio Ghibli receives 0 royalties when an in the style of Studio Ghibli image is generated on OpenAI. In particular, when Miyazaki fundamentally opposes Gen AI at all. So I feel like this is maybe a little bit of an early take. This was posted this morning. Timeline's been filled of people saying, nah, like this is chalk, this is bad. We're going to highlight some of those posts here in a moment. But when we talk about being early, oh baby, let's bring back up the flat tire reference. So I've been saying, you don't realize you need to know how to change a tire until you get a flat tire. You don't know the value of having royalties, IP, structure, all that kind of stuff until you don't have it anymore. And this is the same connection to OpenSea, right? When royalties were gone, as people that were collectors, they're like, whatever, that's a little bit easier for us. But it completely destroyed the industry of NFTs entirely because that didn't exist. But what if there was a way for that to be fixed overall? And we've highlighted that for Altered State, they have the meme machine, which is the same context, right? The Cool Cats filter, Fluff filter. They're coming up with more different ones on that. But it's a way where people can pay to get these generated AI images, and the royalties go back to the studios. And I saw this from Palace today saying, I don't know how, but this visual AI breakthrough will revive NFTs at some point. Well, because it's on chain, you can earn royalties to it. It's instant. You don't have to wait through all of these intermediaries, these middlemen across the board. And that was my response saying, yo, Altered State Meme Machine, they got a few collections. And then Silo, of course. Listen, nobody's talking about Silo. I am the only person on the internet. If you type in the Silo Network, there is me, and that's basically it. But they're trying to do something that will completely disrupt the industry. And of course, if you don't want to go through all the stuff, I'm here to help you through that. So there was a comment in here that I highlighted because within the Readyverse game, which is a metaverse that's built through with the Readyverse, the Ready Player One IP for the Readyverse, that royalties, the founders, all of that are involved. Silo platform was the first thing that popped up that's also doing all this stuff with the royalties, the AI, the data structure, agents, all that jazz. AI is definitely divisive, but you got to embrace technology. We got people crashing out about it, but they're not realizing there's still some good ways to do it. So here's a quick clip from that Spaces that we hosted yesterday of all days. If you happen to miss it, this is a quick one, but of course we do have the full upload of this entire session on my X page, and if you just check my uploads here. Well, the Spaces is one thing, but then when you go into the Readyverse early access and it pops up saying this is the Silo platform, I almost fainted. So can you explain how that is fully integrated? Because that one was, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, like when we built these protocols, it's been hard to visualize how they can show up for an application or experience. But if you take something like Silo, it's touching a number of different points in Readyverse. So out the gate, the UBF blueprints are stored in a silo. The asset register, which connects which tokens you own to your access to those different areas, is built on the Silo network. So all of on Silo protocols, and so all of the underlying bits that power the Readyverse are built on TRN and Silo. Those are the two like kind of protocol layers. We'll introduce obviously altered state and the Think protocol in that future phase that Lenny talked about earlier. And so then you'll see all three of those things come together. The next step is to integrate profiles. So that'll be another Silo that's been integrated into the Readyverse, and then the social network off the back of profiles that will be integrated, and you'll start to see that show up in the multiplayer user experience. So really like all the things we've been saying about how these protocols enable applications that can build interoperable experiences, you're starting to see that come to life now.
So true. Also notice that Aaron didn't say there was no stutters within that. I love the audio editing. If you guys ever need help in that front, let me know. We got you covered on that front. But how nice is this to have the imagery of what the Readyverse looks like over the talking points? Because we can say all the things we want. We can have all the papers released we want. But over the years, people now just want to see what these experiences look like and decide with their eyes, not with what they read. I truly believe AI Wayfinder is about to change how people use wallets. It's no longer just about having the best UX. You don't need one anymore when AI agents can handle everything for you. Here is exactly what I typed. Convert my ETH worth $3 to USDC, bridge it to the base network, and transfer it to a certain wallet. And you can see the AI agent went out and did that, just like ChatGPT takes your image and you give it a prompt of a certain style and it outputs it. So this is the financialization of that, and it's crazy. Now, speaking of the value of blockchain technology, Collector Crypt, another group that we've had on the RWA Segments podcast, if you go way back, this is ridiculous. Ridiculous. The buyer started a return. All right, so I want you to imagine for a second that you'd sold somebody a card, right? Call it $150. It needed to be somewhat valuable, but not crazy, and, decent enough. So you sold the card to somebody for $50 and you get this email, $150, and you get this email saying the buyer started a return. And then you see the reason for the return saying, change my mind, with the comments being, I could not move this at any of my card shows this weekend and last non-liquid. I apologize for the inconvenience. So Buddy bought these thinking that he could flip them at a show and couldn't, so just return them. Now, I have to admit, a little bit ingenious, sure, shoot your shot, but isn't that terrible if you are the person that was selling? It's just feel bad. And it can't happen with instant settlement and ownership transfer. Talking about Collector Crypt, all of the different blockchains that are integrating NFTs, some of them having the physical variations. Tattoo World, shout out to them. We've had them on before. They decided they were going to move back their NFT mint, but they asked if they could use my Bored Ape and show off some of the things with it. And I said, hell yeah, brother. So this is an example of tattoos in the metaverse. And it's a crazy concept, right? Because with all these different AI agents, people want to get tattoos and express themselves in person. Well, why not have that within the metaverse as well? Also gives an idea where people can see stuff and if they actually like that art enough to go further down the line. 100 Solaire, not so rare. Yeah, that'd be a phenomenal last name in the NFT space with Sora. Anyway, Off the Grid secured Binance listing and launch pool. Oh, introducing guns. On Binance launch pool, farm gun by locking BNB, FUSD, and USDC. So that is kind of cool that they are getting some attention through Binance. Again, they're one of the bigger AAA games within Web3 that has had success and has found a player base. Huge for gaming tokens in the short term. At this point, Web3 gaming is very dependent on the few teams that have decent amounts of capital or at least a fleshed out game. Limit Break, Wildcard, Parallel, again from Prime, Pirate Nation, Off the Grid, etc. The rest of teams don't have enough capital to take it to a full launch and likely won't raise from VC unless they upset their cap table. Okay, so if Off the Grid does really well with their token, does that reignite gaming? It's a weird thought because you look at Pudgy and Anime and you're like, there's no way Off the Grid's token just does numbers, right? Comparatively, like if they go up, everything goes up, or is gaming actually going to be that? I mean, I've heard Raven Quest. Listen, we got people in the chat every day talking about Raven Quest. But I think there's various games that are succeeding. But still, Binance listing that as a gaming token, that's sweet. I think we are plus or minus months now where you must assume that everything online is AI unless proven via blockchain otherwise. Great take. Great take. How do you authenticate things? A little help from that blockchain. True. But crazy thought, and the more that you're on the timeline, the more you consume, you're like, holy crap, I think that is a correct take. Reminder, token generating event in less than 5 days. At the beginning of this stream, if you've been watching along, thank you so much. Would love for you to like the video, share, subscribe, whatever the hell you want to do, is the Think Team. And so this is Mikey Anderson from the Think Team having a little bit of a discussion. So here's a 50-second clip.
I think you literally want your agent to have its own everything, right? So like you have your agent, then that agent has its own, right? Like it's not using your credit card. It's got tokens in its wallet and it's got rules based on them, right? Like I think you want to literally have your agent be the thing that's authorizing all of these things, and it's not your bank account, right? Like you don't want it to run your whole life. You want it to be an exocortex that works for you.
Yeah.
Keeps you safe.
You want to own this shit.
You want to own it.
Like for the people in the back, you want to own this shit. In order to do something as simple as buy these tickets and let my friends know, you have to give it pretty much root access over your entire fucking technology stack.
That's why it's important that you have like your security profile that matches the future you want to live, right? Like you want to own that data.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want OpenAI having access to your calendar and how you spend your money and all of these pieces, because that's just going to end up getting used for advertising. I think
It's true. But let me try to make that more relatable. So in theory, Navi, digital identity and AI payment rails with a huge topic this year. Yeah, 100%. Appreciate you coming up so often, by the way. I feel like you're here every stream. Love it. So I have two sets of friend groups that all also play together. So group on Facebook that I know in person, and then in the Discord, it's kind of like everybody, but there's the group on Facebook doesn't really check Discord unless they're playing, if that makes sense. So in theory, if I'm hanging out during the day and I'm out and I say to myself, because I've done this, like, okay, so I need to, and these would be prompts essentially for an AI agent, message the League of Legends Facebook chat and let them know that I'm down to play tonight at 7 p.m. and mention that by 9 o'clock we might have scrimmages if we can get up to 10 players. Also post that in the Discord and tag 3 individuals that are going to play or at the League of Legends role. And then it could theoretically, right, in my mind, I'm like, okay, so then it goes and prompts all that stuff, and I don't have to type it in Facebook, then copy paste it over in Discord, make it more relatable by chance, and do all of that. I can just give it a single prompt, whether by text, whether by voice. We'll see. But that's where my mind goes with that. Obviously, there's calendar, more business type things, but just from a fun perspective, that's kind of cool. Hudson's Bay is facing backlash after announcing $3 million in bonuses for managers while confirming there will be no severance pay for workers impacted by layoffs. People are hilarious because at the same time, your instant reaction is like, man, those managers suck. They're awful. And you're like, man, those managers could be replaced by AI, and then you feel better. Or, oh, no, you wish the money went over down to the workers. It's just all these like perspectives whenever you see something, and there's just like a backlash over certain components. And it just seems like that's wild. That's tough. That's tough. MLB opening day logo. Man, imagine if there was NFTs of the opening day badge every year. Imagine, let's just say back in 21. Actually, they kept the same one for several years. That's not how you get some sales. Come on now, what are we doing? But imagine every year MLB does something where they're like, hey, go collect this badge. And you happen to have all the opening day badges showing you've been a fan forever. And you get some kind of exclusive things, free tickets to a game, cool collectible, physical one. And those be tradable. So if somebody else wants to sell, them being in the right place at the right time, back in the early day, they can sell it to somebody else that wants to pay for the perks of the time spent by another. Same concept with video games. People out there buying different accounts and just saying these digital collectibles are crazy. All right, ethically trained, AI, all that jazz. We've highlighted Gen. This is another product coming out of Futureverse. This is them working with some huge notable artists on their Gen music generating platform.
If there's a group that's been f***ed over and over and over again for the last 100 years, it's artists, songwriters, producers, and musicians. So anybody who stands up for what we do, they've got my vote.
We had a group of like 7 people with 7 laptops, and we were generating ideas within minutes. I've experimented with some other AI stuff that I don't think gave as much intuitive, creative starting places. One of the biggest questions with AI and almost every term moving forward is how is it handling copyright? What is it learning from? So I think if you can generate as good of a product as it's generating, I can tell it's mastering the craft of it. It's honestly amazing.
I'm surprised how good the drums sound. I mean, all I did was a little bit of more.
That's what I'm saying. It's like all high fidelity audio.
Yeah, it
all
is.
the...
Like this is. I did put one kick with it, but the main kick is that, which is really it's really good.
So that is actually a pretty cool creative process if I think about it. So like this was the original thing, 80s nostalgic trap to listen to at a high school party. Technology has always been a huge part of modern entertainment. Playing with it slower, but then sped it up when I found my guitar set. Now it sounds like a nostalgic party in the 80s in Colombia. You know, I must have felt what it was like to deny using a synthesizer for a decade, and then all of a sudden, you're 10 years behind.
I think I found the track. I found the best one out of this. I did like 30. I think this is the one.
As a producer, it's easy to just think of something and start doing it, but when you hear other types of sounds and ideas and little loops or starts, it could branch you out into trying new things that you haven't done, or hearing something in it that will spark another idea for a whole other song.
Good, these are my sick. Yeah, man. Pretty impressive, I gotta say. The drum stuff is really, really impressive. Yeah, it is. Right away, like, you saw it happen in the room a few times where you hear a sound, even just one sound can spark a whole hook. It could spark a verse. We were all singing melodies back and forth.
In this instance, we heard something in one of the outputs that was like, oh, that's sick, like we should start with that. So we downloaded the stems, started with that loop, and then just kind of built around that. Just kind of, again, like co-produced with Jen.
After today's session, I definitely see myself integrating Jen into my workflow and stuff. I think it's very useful and handy and a great place to start, whether you're starting a session and want new ideas, or if you're stuck in the middle of working and you just want some sounds to inspire you.
So what do we think about that? What a nifty tool, ethically trained AI for an entire industry of artists. We said we were going into the stream giving a full context of things. This is we are covering it all. So back to the OpenAI filter, a couple different ones. Again, turning the Bored Ape into a stuffed animal. This is like NFT quality. Like if this was a collection, and I don't mean like Bored Apes, like something similar that people just gravitated towards, it'd be an instant sellout. These ones, kind of the 3D model, look cool. Another type of stuffed animal with the fur, again, another instant sellout. If this was simply just an NFT collection, shows the value of artistic filters. But what if you could filter anything and everything? Your Phantom wallet, but it's RuneScape themed. I would pay for that. For the nostalgic hit, I've talked about how last year I played RuneScape at the beginning of the year, and then I was like, okay, we got the nostalgic hit, and I'm like, I don't really want to grind out this game the way that the way that it needs to be. But damn, just the nostalgic vibe. Imagine you're into like a certain brand, a certain car, maybe a certain sports team. You have merchandise around it, but what if you can integrate your digital experience, your email? I mean, you have on your phone, your desktop, whatever, an image of something that's, I mean, sometimes important on your phone, but if it's something that you're just like a fan of, let's have a filter for everything, baby. Hell yeah. All right. So we've talked about how the Think token generated event's coming. Talked about how Wayfinder's token generated event is coming. Everybody's getting the green light. And Doodles is wanting to enter that race. The internet has shown us how generative tools flatten imagination. When everything's possible but nothing is remembered, creativity becomes slop. We're building universes where characters grow, stories persist, and creators keep ownership. Introducing DreamNet, powered by the Dude token. That's yet to launch, but happening. DreamNet is a protocol that empowers communities to create interconnected story universes with AI while capturing the value they create. This is the last post. Okay, son of a gun. I don't necessarily want to go through an entire white paper. I'll click on this quick and see. I thought there was a little bit more to that post, to be totally honest with you. Okay, what is DreamNet? Yeah. In the short term, the market is a voting machine. In the long term, it's a weighing machine. DreamNet is a protocol designed initially for the base network that establishes a system for the collective creation and moderation of story universes through leveraging AI and the power of information markets. Using an embedded token economy, human and agent participants will create and refine fan-created content of all types to scale coherent world creation beyond what has ever been possible. The network uses key concepts to propel the creative flywheel. Below, we'll use Star Wars as an example, imagining its massive story was just being created today. So you have the creator of the star token, and then it branches out to the story, the names, the art, the ideas, the places. Okay? AI-powered creation. New technology allows our communities to act as the guides and custodians of a self-fulfilling universe, not writing every piece, but nudging their creations into perfect harmony. This interplay between human and artificial creators will allow rich universes to be built in an emergent way without losing the creative human spirit in the process. Additionally, the integrated agents in the system will help guide users in creating coherent and valuable elements. Okay, for an example, because I'm still like, I don't know why I feel like I'm not comprehending it exactly, but we'll come down to it and we'll come up with a banger tomorrow. But example, Fan creates a character for the Star Wars universe named Iskar. He does so by attaching art, personality, and a story to a new agent in the DreamNet terminal. Iskar is a gruff X-Wing pilot, and the community as well as the other agents in Star Wars universe grow to respect and enjoy his personality. He can be seen interacting with the public and other agents on social media, often talking about his famed ship. Okay, holy shit. All right, so I'm starting to get it now. Well, we're talking about the AI agents component. It's taking over everything. I mean, you've seen some of the content creators online that are AI agents, whether it be the AI XRP that Shen and the team from there put out. They're like, okay, this is cool insights. Sometimes it's got replies to certain agents or even people that are actually like interesting takes that you find value out of. And then the AI XPT, which was like the first one that's got massive stats, will randomly just shoot out the volume of certain assets, how something's doing, full breakdowns of new token generating events, like entire breakthroughs just on its own without prompts, except for how it was initially trained, whatever. And it's like, damn, that thing is interesting and it's quick. So now this is offering a place that expands beyond that, even more so. FanB creates a new planet in Star Wars universe called Hypnara, collaborating on the basics of the planet with DreamNet agent, uploading art and writings to make it come alive. Other fans vie for positions as collaborators in this world as new ideas spring to their minds. Soon, Hypnara has artists and fan writers working together to tell the story of this new place alongside FanB. Fan A learns about Hypnara and believes it would be a perfect fit for Iskar, which is the Star Wars character that we had. Okay. So he decides to move him there. Soon, Iskar is interacting with the other agent inhabitants of Hypnara, forming an emergent narrative that cements him as an important figure in the planet's lore. This feels like so futuristic, even though that I know we talk about all of it, but it's such a clever way to have the connection between Star Wars, the planets. You kind of understand the story. Somebody told me that I look like this guy. I'm forgetting his name right now. I think it's George Lucas. There's like actually an image that somebody made back in college of me next to George Lucas, and they were like, you guys are basically the same thing. Now, I know I cut my hair, so it looks a little off. But I'm like, you know what? Maybe you're right. An economy of ideas. Each community-generated idea will be tokenized as an ERC20 token, liquidity paired with its appropriate universe token. Idea tokens will be weighted by their various market metrics to indicate their popularity and the belief of the community and speculators in the future value of each idea. So do you consider these a meme? Or is it different because it's a part of like an AI agent? All valuable ideas and their interactions will be stored in a vector database that is easily navigated by future and current AI systems. This structure will naturally incentivize the creation of an investment in coherent and related ideas. Idea nodes with the highest value and the most vectors connecting them to other content are the most likely to be traversed. A graphic core houses and processes all of the visual content created by the universe founder and the community of co-creators. The combination of vectorized text-based story information and self-propelled market-optimized graphic core forms the basis for the creation of any imaginable end-to-end experience. So reading down here, this is really starting to look similar because I saw somebody made a comment about, oh, this is what like Futureverse is doing in the same way. And I think in terms of the scope, you are seeing the teams that are around right now wanting to hit home runs, help change what the future of the internet looks like, and all of them are doing this. All of them are doing this. But when we go back to the token here, this is what they have to say regarding it. The first universe token. Doodles will be the first community to leverage DreamNet system and the earliest contributors in the network. In order to properly test the system, it is important to incentivize a passionate community of creators and inspire them to keep creating. With Doodles' reach into modern culture, high-quality content output, and the fervent community of creatives, we will break new ground in the way modern stories are told. We have opted to verify OG Doodles holders as the first-place creators and give them access to closed betas as DreamNet develops. This allows our universe at its inception to be founded by our biggest supporters and believers. As the first users of this network, OG Doodle community members and Dude holders may receive other special access and features during the development. So that's kind of cool. I don't know if it explains like more beyond the fact that this is going to be like an early token within the ecosystem. So is the idea that everything on the DreamNet scape has Dude token attached to it? Probably, but I would need to read a little bit more into that. Either way, very, very cool. And we have seen a lot of different collections offer the OG ones early access for tools, experiences, etc. So it's not different from that point, but it does seem like these guys are swinging for the fences. Have the agent integration, and that's something that we are just continuously seeing across the timeline, and it is just crazy, crazy, crazy. So talking about Abstract for a second, Lucanets was on a podcast a while ago, and we played it when it first came out, but he said, I think the #1 streamer on the platform in a couple of months is going to make millions of dollars. And it's talking about Abstract. And so Abstract has their streaming platform. People were fighting for access to it. I normally stream on Abstract, but I was just running through this and I didn't get to pop up the stream. Hopefully it gets fully integrated because you have to manually do it. It's not a lot of work. I mean, it was me being lazy. I'm going to be totally honest with you. But the point being is that has not happened. Now, that doesn't mean that's not going to happen. I saw Jay Bond also make a comment saying that like the highest streamer right now made about $50,000, which is like, oh my days. That's, excuse me. And it's absolutely crazy to think about. But again, this is kind of like the setting expectations of thinking, hey, you know, these mass happenings, what's going to bring it? And the question, I guess, for you in that is, what do you think is going to make more people go to the Abstract stream platform? Do you find yourself ever going to check out that stream platform? I remember the first few days, there was a lot of people that were sitting there and there wasn't really anything being streamed. I didn't think the platform UI or anything like that was bad. But it is weird that we just don't seem to see as much talk around the Abstract streaming platform. So curious what you guys think will be the thing to bring more people to that. Taproot's Wizards, they've successfully sold out just under 2,000 of their ordinal mints, $24 million. You guys paying attention to Web3 yet? Something just sold for $24 million. Bunch of NFTs in the space. Crazy. Skeleton saying, I don't like the Ghibli trend. I don't know, man. Something about a particular artist's meticulously crafted style being turned into a mass market on-demand commodity, it doesn't sit right. Is this how it's going to be from now on? Anything good in the world being taken for parts to make slop? Oh, it's a question. Does this take not exist if they know that royalties and there's allowance from the creators and they're making something off of this virality, does that change that perspective? Because back to the flat tire thing, you don't care about having the tire knowledge until you need that tire knowledge. And people saying, oh, wait, hold on. There's a bunch of people getting scammed. Even though you have the same people that are out on LimeWire, even though I don't know if that's the thing anymore, Pirate Nation downloading movies, streaming sports illegally. Like, this is the question, right? Is the skeleton person somebody that's like that and they have this take? It's like, all right, well, what does it matter? And then obviously we can get into the arguments about, well, you know, sports teams make a whole bunch, et cetera, et cetera. Well, that studio is already successful. Yeah, there's a million different angles and perspectives to look at. But is this the moment that people realize, oh my God, this affects something that I really care about, and now I need to pay attention to what's going on? Because I think it might be. Raoul Paul, the cleanest long-term bet in the world, 10 years plus for me, remains scarce, highly sought after digital art. Art is upstream of everything. Most people don't understand this yet, but if crypto is going to 50 trillion plus market cap by 2034, holy smokes, that's crazy. Art will be the ultimate prize. It always is. Is that why we say big art is just for wealthy people that transfer wealth? I mean, isn't that the notoriety around art? True. So just as a reminder, Ben Jordan, we don't get to hear a lot from him, but the chief product officer at Futureverse before the stream had an interview with him. I was looking a little bit better, but, you know, yeah, had to downgrade just a little bit. You know what I mean? You got to dress up for Ben Jordan because he's Himothy. But phenomenal conversation. Expect for that video to come out shortly, tonight or tomorrow. And that's going to be it for this edition of XFeed. I hope you found something valuable about it. Hope it made you think just a little bit. And Navi Gary Doe, Super Bowl M. Tolly. Appreciate you guys coming through as per usual. If you're watching afterwards, thank you so much. We'd love for you to like the video. Check out the RW Segments podcast below. Have a great night. We'll talk tomorrow. Peace.